Think back to your last trip to the grocery store. Not 6 months ago. Last week. Was there a moment when the cashier read out the total, and for just a second, you honestly thought, that can't be right? Not because your cart was full, because it wasn't. Same groceries, same brands, same weekly routine, yet somehow, the total keeps climbing. You replay the trip in your head. What did I buy? Nothing unusual. No expensive steak. No giant shopping spree. Just the things you always buy. And yet, every week it feels like your money buys a little less. If you've ever stood there quietly doing the math in your head, wondering when grocery shopping became the most stressful part of the week, you're definitely not the only one. But here's what's interesting. Most people think they're watching prices change. They're not. They're watching an entire pricing system change, one product at a time. And once you understand how that system works, you'll never look at a grocery receipt the same way again. Yes, inflation is real. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, grocery prices in America have risen by roughly 25% since 2020. But here's the number almost nobody talks about. Researchers from the University of Massachusetts Amherst found that many grocery products have quietly become 5 to 15% smaller, even while their prices stayed the same, or went even higher. So two different things are happening at the exact same time. Prices are going up, packages are getting smaller, and both are happening on the very same shelf. Today, I'll show you exactly how this system works, the specific tricks manufacturers and grocery stores use, why even careful shoppers rarely notice them, and 3 simple habits that can quietly put real money back into your pocket, starting this week. Because once you see the system, you stop playing by its rules. Shrinkflation. The price didn't change. The product did. Let's start with the trick almost everyone misses. Imagine picking up a bag of chips. Same brand, same colors, same logo, same price you remember paying last month. Nothing feels different. So into the cart it goes. But here's what actually changed. Not the price, the amount inside. That bag that used to contain 11 ounces now contains 9.5. The cereal box that used to feed your family all week now runs out on Thursday. The ice cream tub, the peanut butter, the coffee, they all look almost identical. But little by little, there's simply less product inside. That's called shrinkflation. And it isn't a manufacturing mistake. It's a pricing strategy. According to Consumer Reports, 2024 analysis, more than 90 major grocery products quietly reduced their package size while keeping the shelf price the same, which means the real price increased, without most shoppers ever noticing. Tasha didn't notice either. She lives in Phoenix. Every Saturday morning, she buys the same cereal for her 2 kids, same box, same shelf, same $4.29. One morning, the cereal ran out almost 3 days earlier than usual. At first, she blamed the kids. Maybe they'd been eating bigger bowls. Then she found an old receipt. Out of curiosity, she compared it with the new box. Last year, 18 ounces. This year, 15 ounces. Same price, same packaging, 3 fewer ounces. That sent her back through the rest of her grocery list. Coffee, chips, peanut butter, ice cream. 6 products her family bought almost every week had quietly become smaller over the previous 18 months. When she calculated the cost per ounce, her grocery bill hadn't really gone up by around 12%, the way she'd assumed. It was much closer to 22%. And here's the uncomfortable part. Once you notice it, you start seeing it everywhere. So next time you pick up something familiar, don't look at the price first. Look at the weight. Because here's the mental shift I want you to remember. The price tells you what you pay. The weight tells you what you actually buy. So far, we've only talked about the products. Products getting smaller. Packages changing without looking any different. But here's something even more surprising. Sometimes, the product isn't the thing being changed at all. You are. Or more specifically, the way your brain sees the shelf. Because shrinking the product is only half the game. The other half is making sure you never notice. Have you ever walked into a grocery store planning to buy just 5 things and somehow walked out with 12? You probably blamed yourself. I wasn't sticking to my list. Most people do. But maybe it wasn't entirely your decision. Because grocery stores aren't designed to make shopping easier. They're designed to make buying easier. Those two things sound similar. They're not. Think about your last grocery trip. Was there at least one thing in your cart that wasn't on your shopping list? Maybe a snack, a drink, a dessert. Something you only noticed after walking past it. For most people, the answer is yes. According to research published in the Journal of Retailing, between 40 and 60% of grocery purchases are completely unplanned. Not because people suddenly lose self-control, because the environment quietly changes their decisions. Take milk or eggs. Almost every grocery store places them near the back. Not because it's convenient, because almost everyone needs them. The longer it takes you to reach those essentials, the more products your eyes pass along the way. And every product your eyes notice has another chance to end up in your cart. Now think about the shelves. Have you ever noticed you almost always grab the product sitting directly at eye level? That's exactly what stores expect. Brands actually pay premium fees to put their products where your eyes naturally land first. The cheaper alternative? Very often, it's sitting just one shelf lower. Not hidden, just outside your natural line of sight. Marcus discovered this by accident. Every Sunday, he shopped for his family in Dallas. Same store, same route, same peanut butter. He never even looked below it. Why would he? The one he always bought was right in front of him. Then, one weekend, his daughter asked a simple question. "Dad, why don't we buy this one?" She pointed to the shelf below. Same ingredients. Almost identical nutrition label. Store brand. $3.99. The one Marcus always bought? $6.49. So they kept looking. Pasta sauce, coffee, cereal, rice. 11 products followed the exact same pattern. By the time they reached the checkout, Marcus had saved $23. Without buying anything different. That wasn't luck. It was perspective. And here's why it happens. Your brain is incredibly efficient. It doesn't scan every shelf. It looks for the easiest answer. The familiar logo. The product directly in front of you. The first thing your eyes recognize. Stores understand that. So they don't fight your brain. They build around it. Next time you shop, try something I call the 3-second rule. Before you put anything into your cart, pause. Look one shelf lower, then decide. Sometimes, you'll still choose the brand you always buy, and that's perfectly fine. The goal isn't to buy the cheapest product. The goal is to make the decision yourself, instead of letting the shelf make it for you. Because here's the idea I want you to remember. Your eyes shop before you do. And the most expensive shelf in the grocery store is usually the one your eyes find first. So far, we've talked about products getting smaller. We've talked about shelves changing what your eyes notice. But the next trick doesn't change the product at all. It changes the way your brain sees the price. And that's exactly why even the most careful shoppers fall for it. If you've ever picked up something simply because it had a bright orange sale tag, thinking, at least I'm saving a little today, you're exactly the kind of shopper this system was built for. Not because you're careless, not because you're bad with money, because your brain is doing exactly what every human brain does. It notices the word sale long before it questions the number underneath it. Let's try something. Imagine you're standing in front of 2 jars of peanut butter. One has a bright orange tag that says, sale. The other doesn't. Without looking at the numbers, which one feels like the better deal? Most people answer that question before they even read the price. And that's the trick. Your brain isn't comparing prices yet. It's reacting to the word, sale. Denise never thought about that. She lives in Charlotte. She's the kind of shopper who always looks for discounts. She planned her grocery trips around promotions. She genuinely believed she was saving money every single week. Then one afternoon, she decided to run a simple experiment. For the next 2 months, she wrote down the actual price she paid for the 15 grocery items her family bought most often. Not the discount, not the percentage off, just the final number printed on her receipt. When she looked back, she found something she wasn't expecting. Several of the products she kept buying because they were on sale had never actually been the cheapest option. Some had sold for the exact same price only a few weeks earlier. Others were still more expensive than the store brand sitting right beside them. The orange tag made them feel like a bargain. The numbers told a completely different story. And Denise isn't unusual. According to Consumer World's 2024 investigation, which tracked more than 1,000 grocery products across major retailers, nearly 1 out of every 3 advertised sale prices was either the same as a recent regular price or had actually sold for less just weeks before. The sign wasn't lying. It was influencing. Psychologists call this the reference price effect. Your brain compares today's price to the crossed-out number on the sign, not to what you actually paid last month. That's why a discount feels real, even when the saving isn't. The bright orange color grabs your attention. The word sale creates urgency. And before you've even finished reading the price, your brain has already started treating it like a bargain. So here's something simple to try. The next time you see a sale tag, don't look at the color first. Pause. Read the actual price. Then compare the unit price with the product beside it. If it's still the better deal, buy it. If it isn't, the sale tag has already done exactly what it was designed to do. It got your attention, not your savings. Because here's the idea I want you to remember. A sale sign doesn't change the price. It changes your expectation of the price. And those two things are very different. If this video is changing the way you think about grocery shopping, take 1 second to subscribe. Every week we break down everyday money systems like this. The ones quietly influencing your spending without you even realizing it. Because once you understand how these systems work, you stop losing money to them. 3 moves. 3 small habits that quietly save you money. By now, you might be thinking, okay, so what do I actually do with all of this? The good news is you don't need to clip coupons. You don't need to visit 5 different grocery stores. And you definitely don't need to stop buying the foods you enjoy. You just need to look at the shelf a little differently. Here are 3 small habits you can use on your very next grocery trip. Move 1. Ignore the big price. Most people compare the biggest number on the shelf. That's exactly the number companies want you to compare. The number that tells the real story is usually hiding in tiny print underneath. The unit price, price per ounce, price per pound, price per liter. That number can't be manipulated by a smaller package, a brighter sale tag, or clever packaging. The next time you're choosing between 2 products, ignore the large price first. Compare the unit price instead, because that's the number that tells you what you're actually paying, not just what you're being shown. Move 2. The one-shelf rule. Before you put anything into your cart, pause for just 3 seconds. Then, look exactly 1 shelf lower. That's it. Not the whole aisle. Not every product. Just 1 shelf lower. Sometimes, you won't find anything different. But surprisingly often, you'll find a store brand with nearly identical ingredients for noticeably less money. You're still buying pasta, still buying cereal, still buying peanut butter. You're simply making the decision yourself instead of letting shelf placement make it for you. Move 3. Track only 5 products. Don't try to remember every price. Nobody does. Instead, pick 5 products you buy almost every week. Milk, bread, eggs, coffee, cereal. Open the Notes app on your phone. Every time you buy those 5 items, write down the actual price on your receipt. Not the discount, not the sale sign, the final amount you paid. After 1 month, you'll know something most shoppers never do. Which stores consistently offer the better value? Which products quietly keep shrinking? And which sales aren't really saving you anything at all? Now notice something. None of these habits ask you to spend less. None of them ask you to give up the foods you love. They simply help you see what was already happening before anyone pointed it out. Now imagine your next trip to the grocery store. Same parking lot, same shopping cart, same weekly list. Nothing about the store has changed. The shelves are still in the same place. The sale tags are still bright orange. The packaging still looks exactly the same. But something has changed. You. This time, you notice the smaller package. You notice the unit price. You glance 1 shelf lower. And suddenly, you're no longer shopping on autopilot. You're making decisions on purpose. Because this video was never really about cereal, or peanut butter, or saving a few dollars on groceries. It was about something much bigger. That quiet feeling at the checkout when you looked at the total and wondered, did I do something wrong? Most of the time, you didn't. You were shopping inside a system, carefully designed to influence your decisions, long before you reached the register. The goal isn't to beat the system. The goal is simply to see it, because once you see how the game is being played, it's surprisingly difficult to let someone else keep playing it for you. So here's a small challenge for your next grocery trip. Pick just 1 product you buy every single week. Before you put it into your cart, do 2 things. Check the unit price. Then look 1 shelf lower. If you discover something that surprised you, come back and tell me in the comments. I'm genuinely curious. Because every week, someone notices something they've been walking past for years. And if this video changed the way you'll shop, even a little. Subscribe. Every week, we uncover the invisible systems quietly influencing your money, so you can make better financial decisions without needing a bigger paycheck. Because sometimes, the biggest financial advantage isn't earning more. It's finally seeing what everyone else has stopped noticing.